Opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen. Get ready
check.
for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
All right, guys, greetings and welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast, Friday edition. Here we go. I got Corey Charette. Hey, y'all. What up, Corey? Miss LMT checking in. It's Tuddle time. Joe the Supermark. Hey, now, Tuddle is on. I got a great show lined up tonight, but I will get into that. But if you guys want to call in, you can easily do that. You can give me a call, 407-270-3044. Once again, 407-270-3044. Or you can email me, tuddle@gmail.com. That's Tuddle with two D's, TUDDLE @gmail.com. And once again, I read all of your chat comments. I try to put them up so everybody can read them. Willie Cogley, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a better weather than You know what, Willie? Thank you so much, Willie. You basically got me into my first news story, but out of here, because I did want to talk about that. I wanted to talk about the lake effect snow that's going on up in the
you're looking at right now is the
Buffalo
snow's picking
area.
back up here.
And I'll get to that story. But I did want to tell you, coming up at 7:30, I got Adelia Acker, who is going to be on my show. She is an OnlyFans model, and I'm gonna read a little bit of this, and it's coming up at 7:30. I'm not gonna do one of those regular shock jock interviews where I'm gonna get because the reason I really, really want to talk to her, she says, I am a 25-year-old millionaire from OnlyFans, which is wild coming from a conservative Christian family, and I have lots to unload. So she's going to be on, and I want to talk to her about being an OnlyFans model and being from a conservative family. I think it's going to be a great interview. Because I don't want to get into, because there's a lot of interesting stuff, because I would love to find out a little bit about how she dealt with that. I'm not judging her at all. I think that all this should be legal. I know a lot of people, especially the conservatives and the right wing, they probably think, oh, no, this is bad. So that is coming up at 7:30. I don't know the city and state, but I will find out for you, Joe. But let's get to this. Let's get to this story about this lake effect snow up in Buffalo. You know, everybody's making a big deal about the snow this, the snow that. Isn't this exactly what we go through here in the state of Florida with hurricanes? Have you guys noticed that the Weather Channel and stuff, they're starting to name these winter storms? They do. They're naming the storms now. So what I'm trying to say, though, is the one thing that really, really upsets me about this whole lake effect snow that's going on in Buffalo is that the NFL decided that they thought it would be a great idea to move the Buffalo Bills game against the Cleveland Browns to Detroit, which is, it's a dome stadium. Does the NFL, did the NFL lose complete track of what people like about the NFL? That they love the weather, that they're going to play in any type of weather? And let's be honest, we all know that all the Buffalo fans would have still showed up for this game. Now Buffalo is losing a home game, and we're all getting deprived as a nation of possibly seeing one of the greatest snow games in NFL history.
Savannah, good morning. What you're looking at right now as the snow's picking back up here is actually just the lull compared to some of what we saw overnight. This storm is expected to continue for 36 hours or so. And here's what we've got downtown in Buffalo already. About 9 inches here, but we've seen double.
And, like 9 inches, guys, they always talk about penis length and stuff. And, no, I mean, you're very, very talented if you have 9 inches, but we're talking about 5-6 foot of snow up in the Buffalo area. But I, as a fan of football, let them play.
All of that reported in some areas, including where the Bills were supposed to be playing against the Browns on Sunday. And all of this is causing a travel ban and a state of emergency to be in effect here in Buffalo. But New York is not the only state being hit by this early storm.
This morning, an early taste of winter's worst has Buffalo at a complete standstill. Overnight, western New York hit with thunder snow.
And Fozzie, they do mention this in the report. Roofs can cave under all that snow. Yeah, it can. It can, but let's be honest though. That is what everybody loves about the NFL. Come on, guys. Let's really, really be honest about this. People really love the NFL late into the holiday times. They love the snow games. And now you're moving it to Detroit. Buffalo is losing a home game. I cannot get behind that.
Part of an hours-long lake effect storm shutting down Buffalo public schools.
Our biggest enemy here for the next 48 to 72 hours is a lack of common sense.
Please never run a generator inside your house or inside your garage.
Okay, so all right. So wait, hold on. I want to see what Willie had to say. Willie writes, people get excited over the blizzards. They happen every year. No big deal. Let's take a little second here to talk about the generator thing. I know that the politicians and everything are just trying to cover their asses and stuff. But the way that I look at it, and I know that a lot of you might get mad at me, you might get upset about what I'm about to say, but at the same time, I think it is natural selection. If our local government, our news is having to tell people and beg them to be aware of their generators and not have them inside or anything like that, that is all natural selection. So that's just the way that I look at it. And you know what, Joe? This topic is wearing me out. I'm not going to spend any time attacking you, Joe, but if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm talking about it. I'm sorry that it's not entertaining for you. So I'll leave it at that.
Wasn't expecting this. This is big.
But by Monday, the total could be a crippling 5 feet. The intense storm forcing the Bills and Cleveland Browns to move their Sunday matchup out of Buffalo to Detroit.
If I'm being honest, Joe has reached out to me more than anybody. Joe has been one of the kindest people that I have met from the Bubba Army. So what I'm trying to say, wait, I can't find my damn cursor. Where's my cursor? Man, this is some BS. Give me a second, guys. See, this is the thing about it. This is why my show, people check it out. The battery died in the middle of my show. So I got to replace the battery on my mouse because the Vulture, this mouse wears out more batteries than I've ever known. So can I move around now? Yeah, I can. All right. That's all I needed to know. Hey, I got my little handy dandy knife there. Let's get back to the story.
But parts of Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania are also blanketed in white, with some areas seeing almost 1.5 feet of snow on the ground.
What we're talking about is a major storm. This is considered an extreme event.
All of this earlier than expected mess thanks to lake effect snow, which happens when moisture from the Great Lakes relatively warm.
And Willie does say you can always have one with a cord. Yeah, I can, but I'm kind of limited to the amount of space that I have to work with. Yeah, this is a green screen. Everybody knows it's a green screen behind me. But literally 1 inch to 2 inch behind what you're seeing behind me right now is from the bed that I sleep in. So, yeah, I don't have a lot of room to work with. Sorry.
Warm waters collides with Arctic air blasting over the Midwest and Northeast. Low visibility and rapid accumulation will make some roads and airport runways harder to reach less than a week before Thanksgiving.
Be mindful of the travel advice.
All right, so I think a lot of people are just bored with the story because Willie is already telling me the snowstorm is not that big. We've had worse. So maybe it is. Maybe this is just a case of the national news kind of overhyping it. No, I mean, Joe, I'll keep all my opinions, but no, Joe, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm just a little tired, so I do apologize. I really, really do. One of the stories that I do have an interview coming up here at 7:30. One of the stories that I wanted to talk about is, you know what? I'm going to throw it in here. I'm going to kind of mix it up. When I saw this story, I was like, what is going on?
Player on its boys basketball team.
Jock anybody at all. But there's this story that came out about this basketball player that made the school team's basketball team, but he doesn't have any legs. And good for him that he's going out there and he's just, trying everything. But I got a lot of questions that I need to put out.
Middle school has a new player on its boys basketball team, a young man who was born without legs. but that has not stopped him from being a key piece to this team. WLKY's Dominic Gates has the story.
It's a big inspiration for other people.
Josiah Johnson was born without legs.
All right, so I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying anything about this kid that's getting out there and playing basketball with no legs. But let's be honest, though. We are living in an age where nobody wants to look like they're being insensitive with the cancel culture and stuff that's going on. Are these kids that's playing against this player that has no legs, are they taking it easy? Because I'm telling you right now, I played JV basketball. I never made it to varsity. But I'm telling you, if this guy that came into the lane with no legs, I'm going to swat it. I'm going to swat it. I'm going to block that shot all day, every day, if this kid comes into the lane trying to get a layup.
But that doesn't stop him from doing what he loves.
It's just like something I had to do. You know, I don't want you doubting me because I have no legs. I want to show.
Okay, so let's go through a little bit of these. I mean, so Corey Charette, opposing players might be intimidated to take him on. Fozzie, if you will, I block his shit into the 18th row. I mean, there's a lot of comments here. Miss LMT, and it hurts like a bitch to get your fingers stepped on. Exactly. I'm just saying, like, it's a good thing that this kid's getting out there and doing what he wants. But let's be honest. The whitest of white nerdy kids could block this guy's shot. They just could. And I'm not trying to shock jock you guys by saying that. Give credit where credit is due. His upper body. And that's the other thing. Willie, I'm glad you brought that up. Nobody would ever beat this dude in arm wrestling or anything like that. They never, ever would. Never would. Joe Lupin says, I would pick him up and slam dunk him. Fozzie, if you will, I take the charging foul all day.
You that I'm just as human as you are, and I'm just as good as you are, if not better than you.
Johnson has been playing basketball since kindergarten, and this is his first year on a team. He tried out and made the Moore middle school team.
I act like I wasn't excited in front of the coach. I was like, oh, okay. You know, when I went to the gym, I was excited. I was like, I made the team.
He's never let any limitations slow him down.
He shows up every day. If we have to do sprints or something like that, he'll run them.
Really, coach? Fozzie, if you will, says Tragic Johnson. Did the coach just say even if we have to run sprints, he will be there?
If we have to do sprints or something like that, he'll run them too as well. So that's very exciting to see him actually get out there and do everything that they try to do as well.
Not only did he make his team, on Thursday night, he started.
You know, like, he started. What kind of basketball team does this school actually have? If the kid with no legs is starting. You know, a lot of you people that might be listening to this are thinking that I'm being rude or mean, but no, I'm throwing it out there. I'm talking about stuff that a lot of people would not bring up, and that is exactly why I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it because we are all thinking it. What kind of basketball team does this school have if we are watching a video where he's starting? I mean, you do know that you only need 5 players for a starting lineup, correct? So you're telling me on the JV or middle school team that they could not find 5 players that were very capable. Now, you know what? There's no way that I can actually, work my way out of this corner because everybody is going to think that I'm being mean and stuff.
And he also performed. Johnson is not one to complain. His positivity and determination inspires everyone he comes in contact with.
He's improved my confidence as a player and a person, off and on the court, no matter what, just because he don't care what nobody else says. He's him, and he don't care.
And good for him. I'm glad he is an inspiration to a lot of the other players.
To inspire other people. Don't think just because you don't have something, you can't do something. You can always pursue what you want to in life.
Not everybody can do what he does. So he encouraged us by telling us what to do, if they don't know what to do.
A young basketball player with a simple message.
I wonder how many rebounds he had.
Prove your doubt is wrong, I guess. People are going to doubt you regardless of what happened.
I'm Dominique Yates, WLKY Sports.
Fozzie says he probably has a shit ton of steals. But no, I mean, I only bring this up because Fozzie had made a comment. I don't think it pitted up there, but Fozzie, if you will, said this guy is taking away reps with legs. You're absolutely right. So I got my interview coming up here at 7:30. So I've been pretty busy with my new job. Matter of fact, I'm working 2 jobs away from doing this podcast. Broadcasting, creating content, entertaining people is my passion. It really is. And I do not want to give it up. I know that Fozzie has busted my balls, but I've gotten to the point where I don't let stuff like that bother me anymore. Because I got a life going on. I got to start making some money. Radio loves me less than I love radio. I will die by that statement. I love radio more than radio loves me. And I'm not talking trash about anybody that is on the air, but I have changed my ways. I have improved my life to the point where, like, physically, I'm in the best physical shape that I have ever been in my life. And I will even put that up against Tuddle back in his late 20s and early 30s. I will. Like, guys, for the first time in my life, I'm being responsible. Because, yes, I miss radio. I miss it more than anything in the world. And I'm not here. I'll give you an example. Okay. I know that's coming up to the holidays and stuff. And I'm not talking any trash about Bubba. But, like a couple of months ago, I was, when I saw Bubba, oh yeah, we want you and Colton to do a show. And I know that Bubba gets busy. I know the holidays are coming up and stuff. So I get it. But like, would I like to do some type of content on the internet, like Twitch or YouTube or whatever platform Bubba decides for it to be on? Yes, exactly. I would absolutely. It would be amazing to be able to do that for Bubba on everything else besides terrestrial. I cannot be on terrestrial because I burned bridges, even though that I've tried to repair all those bridges and stuff. It's just not having it because I just blew them up too much. So I apologize that I have not been as consistent as I have been because I was doing it Monday through Friday on a consistent basis. But you guys got to understand, I got a lot of stuff going on, and I got bills to pay. I got things that I need to do, and I apologize. I know that I shouldn't be apologizing, but I am. So what I'm trying to tell you at the beginning of the year, because I actually have all next week off from the job that pays me, and the one that I'm making pretty much the best money that I've ever made in my life. I got all next week off. So even though it's going to be Thanksgiving weekend, I plan on doing a couple of shows a day. I might do Monday, Tuesday. I might do 1 or 2 shows. But I plan on doing a couple of shows during the holiday week, Thanksgiving week. But at the beginning of the year, what I promise you is I'm shooting to do a show every day. But at the very, very minimum, this is going to be my new schedule that I plan on doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if I'm not that busy at my other job, I'll do a Tuesday show. I'll do a Thursday show. So the only reason I'm talking about this, and I know that it's really not that entertaining for me to talk about, but I don't want any of the people or the people that have supported me, even through my terrestrial broadcasting career, to think that I'm taking you for granted, because I'm not taking you for granted. I wish that I could just do the podcast and not have to work another job. I really, really do, but I'm just not at that level. But I still want to do it because doing this podcast feeds my passion as being a broadcaster. That's about it. So I should have an interview coming up here real soon, but let's see. Let's see if the OnlyFans model is going to show up. I have show prep for this interview. And if Vulture is watching right now, can you maybe put something out there in the chat room or text me? Have you heard? Because right now it is She's got about 30 seconds. Let's see if it really does happen. If you're just tuning in, welcome to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. If you'd like to call in, you could easily do it. 407-270-3044. I am waiting for Adelia Acker. Here, I'll show you what Adelia looks like. That's Adelia there. Showing the cleavage. All right. I figured that this might happen because guess what? I am used to women standing me up. Go figure. So I'm probably just going to get into my next news story. Let me remove that. Let me add that video file here. I do apologize. This next story is
fear in that Idaho college town where four students.
We kind of had a story like this in Central Florida. Talking about this quadruple homicide up in Idaho. But we had this issue in Volusia County in Central Florida. And the one news story that I could compare to this is the Xbox murders that happened in Deltona, Florida. This guy, I guess, he loaned an Xbox off to somebody. They went to their residence and they killed like 4 or 5 people and stomped the house chihuahua with his bare feet. But this story is just absolutely nuts.
Growing mystery and growing fear in that Idaho college town where 4 students were brutally murdered. What we've now learned tonight about 2 other roommates who were there, but who survived this. ABC's Kana Whitworth in Idaho again tonight.
Tonight, police in Idaho.
Okay, so does it make me a bad person? Because the first thing that I thought of when they said 2 people actually survived, I was like, oh, we need to look into them. Because 4 people died, and the other people, it wasn't like they were small kids where they could hide somewhere in a small area. Why did those 2 people make it and the other 4 people got killed? You got to look into them.
Pouring over the crime scene inside that off-campus home where 4 college students were brutally murdered. Investigators say the 2 surviving roommates have been very cooperative with police.
Potentially they are witnesses. Potentially they are victims. We want
potentially
to protect
they're the key to this whole thing.
Or they could have been the setup.
Exactly. Potentially they're the key to this whole thing.
Tonight, some shops are closing early. There's frustration with police and fear in the community.
Did you hear anything that night? Anything out of the ordinary?
No, I'm like 50 yards away.
Yeah.
It was like, that's scary for me.
Police walking back earlier claims that there's no threat to the public.
Well, I mean, this is law enforcement trying to cover their ass. You know that, I know that, everyone knows that they're trying to cover their ass. But this just seems like something was personal. This seemed, because if you notice, 3 out of the 4 victims were female. I know that I should not jump to conclusions, but you know what this sounds like? A spurned guy that got rejected by one of these women or was a friend. It's just, this type of stuff happens more often than we know.
We still believe it's a targeted attack. But the reality is there's still a person out there who committed 4 horrible, horrible crimes. So I think we got to go back to there is a threat out there still, possibly.
Investigators piecing together a timeline with videos.
And this is something that I have never, ever understood. With all the technology that's going on, as much as people are taking videos just of random things, security cameras, Ring doorbells, how you can track somebody's cell phone better than what we ever could. You just cannot get away with murder like you could back in the 70s and 80s and then even the 90s, because we didn't get that technology until the late 90s. That's why Generation X is a great blend. Like, we're very adaptive. Like, our early years, we did not grow up with technology, the Generation X, and then towards the end, it was there and we had to learn it, but we still understood it and we were able to pick it up very, very easily. But you just cannot get away with murder anymore. You just can't do it.
From that night, 2 of the victims seen here at a food truck on their way home from a bar. The other 2 had returned from a party. Police found no signs of forced entry, but Kaylee Gonsalves' sister telling us that people were in and out of the house all the time.
When I'm looking at this door, it's like a keypad with.
All right. So this is one of the other things that I wanted to bring up about this story. When we are younger, when you're in your teenage years, late teenage years, early 20s to even mid 20s, you feel invincible. You feel invincible. You have a false sense of security. No. Here we go. Hello, how are you? Let me remove this story. How are you?
Good. Sorry, I was on Google Meet, and I was the only one in there.
Oh, I got you. How are you doing? And now, is it Adelia? I just want to make Adelia. How are you doing today, Adelia?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm glad that you joined me, Adelia. So Adelia, before I get into the interview, I like to give my guests the floor to be able to tell my audience a little bit about themselves and how everybody can check out any of the content and stuff that you have out there.
Cool. My name is Adelia. I have an OnlyFans. I'm a little bit of an internet whore. But fun fact, I haven't had sex with a man in over a year, so it's kind of like an internet persona.
Mm-hmm.
Really big dog person. I really like dubstep. And chicken wings. I really like chicken wings. So that sums up a lot of my personality.
What about social media, website? Where can people check out any of your stuff?
All of my websites are on It's Deals, itsdeelz.com. And I have a podcast that you can find on that'soffensive.co.
So Adelia, you introduced yourself, your podcast, you're on OnlyFans and stuff. But on your bio it says you come from a conservative type family, all right?
I do.
So did you come out right out of the box and tell your family or friends and stuff about what you were doing? Because trust me, I'm not judging. Like, I think it's great. If you want to do whatever you want to do, I think it's absolutely amazing. I think any of that stuff. So I want to go into the interview letting you know I'm not judging or anything. I think it's great. If you're doing really, really well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you wait until they came to you and asked you about it, or did you talk to your family about it ahead of time? Were you proactive?
No, oh my God. No, I was kind of trying to savor the relationship for as long as possible. My dad found out through one of his church buddies, and one of the church buddies, he said it was one of my friends, but none of my friends.
How did a church person find out about your OnlyFans? That's kind of sus. If I'm being honest.
They sent him screenshots of my OnlyFans. I think it was as a subscriber. I don't know. I had my friend. I have this thing when I'm getting really like bad news or anxious news that I can't read my own text messages, so I have to give my phone to like my friend so they can give me a synopsis so that like I don't get too triggered. Especially when it comes to stuff with my dad, I get really triggered.
Where does I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but where does that come from though? If you get triggered, that though.
My dad has always been, I'd say, emotionally neglectful and also I'd say verbally abusive towards me.
In what way? Like what would like? How would he be verbally abusive?
I mean, he's been calling me a whore way before OnlyFans. He's been sending me long paragraph text messages about how I'm an embarrassment to the family, how I'm never going to get a job, how I'm going to be a failure. Just paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs way before OnlyFans ever started. He has always told me that I'm not enough as is and that, you know, he'd be disappointed in me, and I never followed kind of the path that he wanted me to follow. And I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of feelings of not enoughness. There's just a lot I deal with him before I ever made an OnlyFans. So then once he found out about my OnlyFans and sent me screenshots of my own nudes on Reddit to shame me, I blocked him because I'm like, that was weird to look up. I don't understand why a parent or a family member would like send you nudes of yourself to make you feel bad about it. So, so at what age did you move out of the house and stuff from your parents? I mean, I went to college when I was 18 and they didn't give me any money my freshman year. I mean, they gave me like meal plan money and stuff like that, but I didn't have any money for Ubers to like go to parties or anything like that. So I had to get a job while I was like doing school. And I think I got like a 3.4 GPA my freshman year. So then they saw, okay, she's getting good grades. She's probably not partying that much. So then they started giving me an allowance. And then when they gave me an allowance, I think I got a 3.8 GPA that year. So that's when I moved out and I was like pretty much on my own at 22 and I still lived in Arizona and I worked 2 corporate jobs before having my OnlyFans. And then once I had my OnlyFans, I moved out of Arizona because there's
So what were you going to college for? What were you wanting to study?
Marketing. I was in the business school.
Oh, very nice. So what was what gave you the idea? Do you remember like what was like, you know what, I'm going to try this OnlyFans thing and check it out. Like, do you remember when you first decided to do it?
Yeah, I was on acid, which is it's a fun little story I like to tell. People have been telling me to make an OnlyFans for months before I actually made one. Since I already had a pretty decent Instagram following and I was literally having people message me like every day begging me to make one. And I didn't want to make one for a really long time because I was just like, I was really scared of my parents, but I was also scared of like what my peers would think. Like I would be the first one out of all of my peers to be making an OnlyFans. So I was just scared of a lot of judgment. And what's the cool thing about psychedelics, at least in my experience, is I'm able to differentiate what are other people's voices versus what my voice says.
Oh, okay. Hold on. So psychedelics. So like, all right. So what do you, let's back up here a little bit. We got to unwind it. So psychedelics, what are you microdosing? What are you doing?
I was taking acid. And I wouldn't say I was microdosing. I was definitely tripping. But I don't take acid as much anymore because I took a lot of acid before I got really into mushrooms. And now I'm really into mushrooms because They don't last 12 hours. So, but I used to take a lot of acid, and every time I'd take it, I'd have some kind of epiphany. And it's like the acid was helping me listen to my intuition more. And growing up, I was just always told to ignore my intuition because it went against the family beliefs so much. But yeah, acid is what helped me make my OnlyFans, and I made it a week later.
So, did you ever deal? Because I'll personally tell you, I've dealt with depression and anxiety, and I've been, like a lot of the doctors and stuff that I see, they're all like, just want to throw a bunch of pills down your throat and stuff. And I've been researching about microdosing. Did you ever deal with any depression, anxiety growing up? Did this help you in any way?
I think it helped me a lot. Yeah, I've dealt with so much anxiety, so much depression. Like I've gotten really, really bad before, and I think acid and mushrooms have helped me in so many ways. Like not just with my anxiety and depression, but with my self-confidence, my even like confidence and decision making and everyday life stuff. It's helped me more than therapy did or anything else did. But now I go to a pretty good life coach. But I think mushrooms and acid just made me so much more in tune with myself. Can you hear me?
I'm getting some big feedback from you right. Oh, it's better now.
Oh, I don't.
In front of a fan or something. I had to turn my board down.
Oh, I'm sorry. It might have. There's nothing. There's no fan on.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was something on my end. Anyway, so you're doing your podcast and stuff. What made you want to do that, and what are some of the things that you guys discuss on your show?
So the minute I decided I wanted to make an OnlyFans, I knew I wanted to do a podcast about OnlyFans. I didn't want other girls to be scared to make an OnlyFans because of the stigma around it. And when I first made my show, it was about destigmatizing OnlyFans. And I had a co-host at the time. And, we had a falling out, and now I have my own podcast. My own podcast is still about destigmatizing OnlyFans, but I just think there's a lot more depth to it, and I want to hear these girls' stories. I want to hear their sex stories. I want to hear their family stories. I want to hear about their trauma. I want to hear about a lot of different things in their life, so that people can look at them not just as sexual objects, but also as actual people.
If somebody, say a woman was listening to your show and was thinking about starting an OnlyFans page, what are some of the positive things, and what would be some of the things that you would warn a female that might be thinking of starting an OnlyFans page?
I mean, I think the great thing about OnlyFans, at least for me, is that I'm my own boss. I am able to express my sexuality and get more in tune with my sexuality by having my OnlyFans. I've got to explore parts of myself. Like, I didn't really know for a fact that I was bisexual until I made an OnlyFans and started working with girls. And then I was like, oh my God, I love vaginas. So I was like, I'm definitely bisexual. And I think you get to know yourself a lot more through OnlyFans. And I've had friends who they get to know themselves more and decide they want to get off the platform. I think that for anyone wanting to join the OnlyFans platform now, you just got to know that, like, we're in a recession. People are not spending the money that they used to spend unless you have a constant flow of traffic to your OnlyFans. It might not be worth it for you to make one at this point, because the downside of OnlyFans is also that it kind of sticks with you forever.
So what I want to add, all right, so I got so many questions about this.
Okay.
So when you have an OnlyFans page, you got to know that some of the people that subscribe are gonna leak some of your material and stuff online. A lot of guys will go on, they'll search up, because I'll admit to you, as a guy, I will run across me if it's a woman on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, or TikTok, and I find out they have an OnlyFans page, I'll learn a little bit more about them. But the first thing I do as a guy, I will, take their name, I'll search it, and I'll put OnlyFans link or whatever. How much does that affect you?
I don't know how much it affects me. I try not to pay too much attention to my leaks, but the leaks that I have seen, and thank God for this, but it's some of my worst content. I know I used to have a lot of stuff leaked, but I'm paying, I pay like $800 a month or something like that to get all my leaks taken down. So now
you can hire somebody to go and find your leaks and get them taken down and stuff.
Yeah. So they got it pretty narrowed down to the leaks that are up right now. It's like some of my worst content. So I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with my worst content.
You're not worried about that making you like, oh, why do I want to check her out? You say that it's your worst stuff, but let's be honest. We're always like kind of more critical on ourselves. You see what I'm saying? So what you may think is your worst stuff, some of the guys that are like, oh man, I love this, like.
I just think it was some of my worst content because the stuff I've seen that is leaked was when I had mold poisoning. So I was like,
wait, mold poisoning? What was that?
I was really, really sick earlier this year. So the stuff I've seen that's leaked of me is when I was really sick.
Like black mold? Like black mold? Like
I had black mold in my lungs. So when I see the content that's leaked of me, in my opinion, I look sick. Like compared to how I look now, I just look sick. So I'm like, okay, you guys can have that, but I look a million times better now. So wouldn't you want my content of me now where I look good?
So in your bio, how much money have you made off of OnlyFans? What's the best year that you've ever had?
Best
year.
I made well over $1 million my first year on OnlyFans.
Really?
Yeah.
What about do you hire somebody to keep up with your finances and taxes and stuff?
I have a financial advisor. I have an accountant. I also have an assistant who kind of helps me manage my money. So she yells at me when I spend too much money, and then I have to restrict my spending somewhere else. So yeah, I have people that help me with all that stuff.
Well, I don't need to know where you live, but what state? Because I was just thinking about taxes.
I live in Los Angeles.
Okay, so then you get tax locked out there. Why haven't you moved or tried to set up residence in Florida? We don't pay a state income tax here.
So here's the thing. I was in Arizona where taxes are a lot lower, but you have to think about opportunity cost because how many influencers and content creators live out there, or even Miami. The place to collab with as many content creators as possible is LA. Yeah. All of my OnlyFans friends who even lived in Miami have now moved to LA because of the lack of opportunity in Miami. So if you want to get those collabs in, if you want those YouTube collabs, if you want anything to grow your business, you need to be in LA, unfortunately.
Any famous people checking out your content? Have you had any famous people reach out and say, really, really love your stuff? If you're ever free, it would be awesome to meet you type thing?
Sean Kingston?
Wait, really?
Yeah, beautiful girls. Yeah.
Yeah,
He reached out. I don't think I got a lot of famous people in my DMs. I've definitely had a lot of people who play sports in my DMs. I don't know who the fuck they are. They just have a blue check mark.
Yeah. So what is your limit to the content that you do? Now, remember, I'm on Twitch and YouTube, so let's not get too descriptive and stuff. Yeah. I know you how to play, I know you know how to play the game and stuff, but I just want to throw it out there. But do you have a limit of the content? You've never done have you done guy girl stuff at all or no?
Yeah, I have. It's been a year. I haven't had sex with a guy in over a year. So it's been over a year since I've done that.
Is
But
that professionally and personally though?
yeah.
Well, is that like you're just wanting to? When I hear that, I hear somebody, because I've been there. Like
Yeah.
when you are just wanting to work on self-improvement. Is that where you're at in your life right now? Because
Yeah.
because like I haven't gone out and met a lot of people, because guess what? I've been concentrating on work and my personal life and everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and then there's the other fact that like the next guy I want to be with is someone who I want to be in a relationship with, and I don't think I've ever had a healthy relationship. I've never had a relationship where like we're both equally as into each other and respectful, and I've just never had anything like that. So I'm just holding out till I find something that is really special, and I'm not settling anymore, and I just haven't met anyone who even remotely catches my eye.
What is the most successful relationship you've been in? Like, in your opinion, you're like, that's the one that I could have seen spending the rest of my life with. Or if you had serious relationships while doing the OnlyFans stuff?
No, I mean, I've dated here and there with the OnlyFans. Like last year I dated kind of like, and when I say date, it wasn't a relationship. We were not boyfriend, girlfriend, but like we were getting to know each other. And there were two guys that I was casually dating last year. And I will say that more guys are interested in me now that I have an OnlyFans than ever before. But I also noticed that the two guys I dated last year, and I've never cared about money because neither of them had money. Both of them were kind of poor, and I've never cared about that. But they also expected me to pay for everything. They wanted me to cash out on them. Like I'm just not going to fund someone else's life. And I've never cared about money, but I'm like, I refuse to pay for someone other than myself because I'm over being taken advantage of. Like, I've even had friends try to like take advantage of, the situations I've given them. Like I give great birthday gifts. I paid for things. And, they like, some people want to collab with me just for my OnlyFans sub. So I'm very weary of who wants my things and kind of wants my lifestyle versus who's actually interested in me. So like the next guy I'm with, he's going to have to be at least successful enough to not care to mooch off of me.
No, so you're just saying somebody, they don't have to completely you just want somebody that can take care of himself, and he doesn't have to be like richer than you or being more financially successful. You just want somebody that's independently that you don't have to take care of.
Exactly. I felt like I was mothering these two men, and like they were both like at least 5 years older than me. Yeah. Like, no, I should not be having to be a mother as a 25-year-old.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what is that going there? Hold on. Give me a second. I'm messing up there. Miss LMT says, hold on. Miss LMT says they wanted a sugar mama.
They did. They did want a sugar mama.
So let me, I see, I have so many questions. I could do a 2 or 3 part interview on this thing because, unlike most people that would have you on, they're just going to want to talk about the stuff. But I'm interested in the behind the scenes stuff, the psychology, the stuff you have to deal with. So have you ever had a stalker that
Not
you've
that
had?
I know of.
No.
Not that I know of, no. Yeah, I guess I'm lucky there.
But are you careful with your identity, not giving out too much information when you're doing this type of stuff?
Kind of. I mean, I definitely say I live in LA. I mean, that's a very big place to live, but it's also where I create like all of my content. It's where I work with everyone. I never post where I am when I'm there. So try to be good about that.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, we're living in crazy times right now and stuff. And you just got to be careful with that. Like,
yeah.
Do you ever hire anybody for like security type purposes, or somebody that you could reach out to if something happened like that?
Yeah, I have tons of guy friends who live near me, so if anything happens, they're not even 5 minutes away.
All right. Well, I'm sorry if I'm asking a bunch of
Oh, no, you're good. I mean, I also take boxing classes, and I can throw a mean punch.
Yeah, but how tall of a woman are you?
I am 5'2", but I'm very feisty.
Very feisty. Okay.
Yeah, I'll put up a fight.
So what? All right. So what would it take for a guy? Because I'm sure you get hit on a lot. I'm sure a lot of guys are, in your DMs and everything like that. But like, what's it gonna take for a guy to stand out? Like, from all the rest, the ones that you think that are fans of your OnlyFans, you said you want to find somebody that's going to be a serious thing. Do you want kids in the future? No?
Hard pass. I want the man to have a vasectomy.
Really?
There's a few things off my checklist, but number one on the checklist is they have to be willing to get a vasectomy, because it's really hard to get your tubes tied. I don't want kids. And I just got off birth control because my hormones were all over the place. So they have to be willing to have a vasectomy. But also, to date me in the first place, they should know themselves that they don't want kids. So they should be like getting a vasectomy to begin with, just for themselves. Like, you don't want to get a girl pregnant when Roe v. Wade was overturned. Like, you don't know what's going to happen in the US, and that's scary. So definitely get a vasectomy. Also, just one of the main things that stands out to me with men is when they can be very authentically themselves. Like, it's very rare to find a guy who wants to be authentically themselves, or even has the capacity to be in tune with themselves and emotionally intelligent and self-aware and can identify their emotions. And I love a goofball. I love a goofball. I'm really goofy. And I like the golden retriever kind of energy.
Well, so what do you mean? Loyal but high energy type thing? What are you?
Just someone who's like really happy-go-lucky. I am not go with the flow, so I feel like I need someone to balance me out who is really go with the flow. Because balance, yin and yang. I'm very opinionated, so maybe someone who's just a little more aloof about things.
All right, I got that. So you never want to ask a woman her age, but what is the oldest that you would be willing to date then?
Probably 50.
Really 50?
I mean, look at Paul Rudd. He's fucking hot.
No. I will listen. A lot of people would want to call me out. I'm very comfortable with my sexuality and everything, but I will admit to you, Paul Rudd is probably one of the most perfect men out there. The guy is funny. He's good looking. He's like a vampire that never ages. Like, seriously.
He is like the epitome of golden retriever energy. So Paul Rudd fuckers is what I go for.
Do you think Paul Rudd, like, I've always believed that guys can't have everything. Do you think so? Paul Rudd doesn't look like he ages. He's funny, good looking and stuff. What penis? What do you think? You think I mean he's got to be like at the below average at something in his life.
I don't think he gives off that kind of energy. And also, even if his dick was below average, he's got the money to get dick injections. He has the money to change it. So, I mean,
really, is there ways that you can actually?
Yeah, I don't know why more men don't do it. You can get fillers in your penis to make it bigger, and just so many men don't know about it or don't want to do it or have some like, I don't know, like women. I mean, I got my tits done. I have my lips done. I have fillers. I have Botox. I have implant in my chin. I did all these things.
I had Botox before my marriage. Before I got married. For the pictures, I got Botox for the first time. It was not that bad. I got it around the eyes and right above, in between the eyebrows, right on the bridge of the nose. And you know what? It's not that bad. Like a lot of people are all worried about it and everything. I got to tell you, like I took some really good pictures because, like when you get a little bit older, you start creating wrinkles and it's more maintenance, in my opinion. But you don't want to wait until the damage is already done, correct?
Yeah, no. You do not want to wait.
All right. Well, Adelia, social media wise, what is the one social media that people should follow you on?
Probably Instagram, because I just get deleted everywhere but Instagram right now. But you can just find all of my socials on itsdeals, itsdeelz.com. Because that'll just have everything.
Well, what I'm going to do is in the description when I post it, it'll automatically be up on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, but I'll put the links in the description if everybody wants to find you. Anything in the future you're working on? Book, movie, TV, reality type stuff? Anything?
Well, my podcast is re-releasing on this upcoming Tuesday. Titty Tuesday for my podcast. So go listen to that. You can find it on all of the links for my podcast are on that'soffensive.co. So stay tuned for that.
All right, Adelia, if I'm being honest, I was like, oh, this hot OnlyFans chick is not going to show up on a Friday night.
Yeah.
For my podcast, but I really, really do appreciate you for joining me. Hopefully none of the questions weren't over the top and everything. I wanted to do a little bit of a different type of interview to find out, people making money off of OnlyFans. Like it is a very honest way of making money. And I think a lot of people just judge it and stuff. So I'm glad that you came on the show to talk about it and kind of educate my listeners.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, Adelia, I hope you have a wonderful night and hopefully you have a great weekend, okay?
All right, you too.
All right, bye. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's show. I'm going to try to do as much content next week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Hopefully you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you tomorrow.